My name is Jess and I'm a music therapist, currently working one afternoon a week at St Luke's Hospice. I'm also working in an SEN school, in 2 care homes and privately in people's homes. I'm not able to make it there today to speak to you all in person, so I thought I'd do a little video just to explain a bit more about music therapy and how it's used at the hospice and how it can be used in other areas as well. So to start with, a music therapist is a qualified allied health professional that uses music and musical interventions to address physical, emotional, social and cognitive needs. And music therapy is a master's degree that combines music theory, psychology and clinical training. So I'm a trained singer and then I went on to do my 2 years master's degree in music therapy. Music therapy is an evidence-based clinical practice that uses music and music interventions such as songwriting, improvisation, which is creating music, listening to music and familiar music to help people with their tailored goals. Like mentioned earlier, this could be physical, so music therapy can be used in stroke wards, and you can use music to help people with their gait, or physically to help strengthen their arms or the muscles that have been impacted by their stroke. Music therapy can also be used in stroke patients to help with speech as well. We may also use music therapy for emotional support. So this could be somebody who's experiencing anxiety or stress or pain, and music can be used for their overall mood as well. So this is where music therapy can be used in quite a range of settings. It can be used for mental health support, it can be used at end of life. It can also be used to help those who are grieving as a part of processing. You could potentially use songwriting in this aspect as well. Music therapy may also be used for cognitive help and support, and that's where it comes to play with dementia in particular. And also for social support, so for group settings, and to help those who need support with learning more of those social cues, or turn taking, for example, in more of the school settings and the SEN school settings as well. So like I've mentioned, it can be used in a wide variety. So you will see music therapy in hospitals, on wards, in mental health wards in particular, in care homes, in schools, privately in people's homes, and that's not just the list. There is, I'm sure, lots of other areas where it can be used as well. Why and how I became a music therapist. Like I said before, I'm a singer and I've been performing for years, and I've always been interested in how music impacts people, moves them, and I loved seeing the response and the reaction, particularly like my grandparents when they would watch me perform, or those in the audience to say how their music might have really impacted them or took them back to a certain time in their life. And so I'd always been curious about how I could use music more to help people more. I've always wanted to be in a caring role of some sort, and I particularly remember watching a video on YouTube of a ballerina who was living with dementia, and they played the music from Swan Lake, and she immediately began to do the movements, the choreography that she had learned when she had been in Swan Lake. And I remember just being so amazed by the power of music, and I wanted to understand why and how music and the brain were working together at this point. And it was then that I looked it up and looked up music therapy and decided this was my opportunity to be able to use music in a more meaningful, impactful and person-centered way. So I decided to start my training then. So I was inspired really particularly by the work of music therapy and dementia, but during my training was amazed to see all the different areas and all the different ways music therapy could be used to support such a range of people and such a range of ages as well. Music can also be used with babies and babies in the NICU. So I think it's amazing to see how music therapy can be used across the lifespan. So the work I do at the hospice, I actually did part of my training at the hospice. So my student placement, I did 2 days a week at the hospice, 1 day in the daycare and 1 day in doing the dementia workshop groups as well. I found it incredibly rewarding, and the 2 days were very different. Often finding in daycare, we were looking at reminiscing or potentially processing a diagnosis that someone might have had, and working with that through music. Sometimes thinking about somebody's life story and putting together music that they feel tells their life story, or writing songs about what they're processing or what they're going through, or even a message they want to leave for a family member. The dementia work was, at that time, the person living with dementia would come to the music therapy group, and the loved one or carer was in the workshop. And it was amazing to see the socializing happening between those that were in the group, to see possibly somebody who has come in and they've had a difficult morning, are feeling agitated and frustrated, struggling to communicate how they feel. And we would do a hello song, and we'd take the opportunity to say hello to each individual person, and they've all got an instrument, and in that moment they can express through music how they're feeling, potentially how they can't put into words. And often you'd see a real range from someone who might be quite timid to start with, and then really growing confidence and becoming quite playful. I particularly remember people would realise that as a therapist at the keyboard, I was matching or mirroring what they were doing, and therefore they would often get really playful, trying to go faster and faster to see if I could keep up with them. And it was a real opportunity to lift their moods and address some of the symptoms. We also would use familiar music, and that would be really amazing to see somebody who may be struggling to remember certain things that have happened that day, but a particular tune or a particular song would really reignite the neural pathways, and that would help them to recall the lyrics. So You Are My Sunshine was often one that would really help, and people would be singing along word for word. Sometimes even some opportunities for solos, which was really lovely to see as well. So that has been my role here at the hospice, and we have since doing that for a year in my training, we have been able to get some funding, and we have done blocks of music therapy work. This now actually is for those living with dementia and their loved one to come together, which again has actually brought more to the group than I think I had anticipated. Some of the feedback has included that it has given them, so them and their wife, or them and their husband, or them and their father, the opportunity to spend time together and bond in a really stress-free environment, in a joyful, fun way. Often they'll see their loved one recalling these lyrics, and it can be very powerful and very emotional. Sometimes you'll see couples sing the love songs to each other, which is really lovely. So a lot of the feedback has been that it's been some lovely quality time for them to spend together, where actually in that moment they aren't a carer, they are their loved one's partner again. It also gives the person living with dementia an opportunity for self-expression through music that they create, and autonomy and choice over the instruments that they choose, or whether to play or not. We've often had feedback about the changes in moods and how it has gone on to carry through the rest of the day, and possibly even help with sleep at night, So there's such a wide area that music therapy can support and help. And again, with being in a group, they therefore found support and comfort in each other. So it's an absolute privilege to be a music therapist, I've got to say, to be able to use music to support those in such a wide way is an absolute joy. Particularly working at the hospice, it's a wonderful place to be. But I think if you're ever wondering where music therapy could be used, research it. It's a wide area, and like I say, I'm working across the lifespan at the minute as well. So yeah, thank you very much for listening. I hope I've answered some questions that you might have had, and actually if you have more questions, feel free to pass them on and I'll do my best to respond. Just when I am